Okay, guys, welcome in. Another Traders Workshop going off here on a Wednesday. It is the 22nd of April. Welcome in, and today we're going to be talking about the Traders Workshop, focusing in on a trading plan, looking at the X's and the O's that make up that trading plan. My name is EP. I appreciate you guys coming in, especially those of you guys staying up late. We are going to take about an hour of your time tonight. This is a recorded webinar, a recorded workshop, so all of those you have to take off early, we'll get a copy of this sent into your inbox. Of course, this is interactive, so if you do want to ask questions of me, hang around, find the GoToWebinar question box at the bottom of your toolbar that you use to climb on in, and you should see an area where you can ask me questions at any time as we go. All right, so away we go. Here's a quick risk disclosure, just make sure everybody understands that there, last time I checked, there is a little bit of risk involved in these features, so make sure you're up to speed on that. Hypothetical. All right, so here's the agenda today, guys. Really excited about sharing this information. Some of you guys have seen this before, made some subtle tweaks. A number of you guys that are here today have never seen this before, or have seen different variations from maybe some other professional traders. You know, this is my plan. This is my trading plan, and I've been trading for quite a long time. And you know, at the end of the day, the takeaway from tonight's workshop is I want you guys to take away being diligent, disciplined to your plan. And a lot of people just say, well, you know, it's all about just throwing some money into an account and, you know, buy some indicators and, you know, away I go. And, you know, I'm happy if I make X number of dollars and I'll make sure I don't lose, you know, X number of dollars. But I mean, really, that's not a plan. Like, you know, I want you guys to think about a game plan. Think about a professional team, football, basketball, baseball. Unfortunately, all these teams are on the sidelines right now, but they will be soon getting back out there. And there's actually a game plan right now for what they're doing at home, right? And there's a game plan for what these sports athletes are going to do when they get back on a field. Same thing applies for you as a trader. It's a great analogy to use, and just like with your trading plan, you need to have, if you look at that last bullet, I'm kind of going right to the end and working my way back up, you need to have some coaching. So that's what you guys are actually getting tonight. So congratulate yourself for showing up. For those of you guys that are members that come to all the workshops to take a couple little gold nuggets away to try to apply into the trading tomorrow, fantastic. Very proud of you for that. Now, going back to the top, we're going to be talking about the start line. This is all about how much cash, how much of an investment you need to make in yourself at the beginning to put into your account. We're going to go over some goal setting, specifically daily goals, monthly goals. Then I'm going to talk to you guys about a basket of markets. For tonight's workshop, we're really going to focus on commodities, but you could use the same trading plan if you're a stock trader, if you're an options trader, if you're trading anything else that's got enough volume and volatility in the market. But for tonight, we're going to be focusing in on commodities. We're going to be talking about when to trade. When are you open for business? When should you be in front of your computer? If you guys were in the workshop, we had was it last week? I guess it was last week on prime time. We're talking about when to trade. I just shared, for those of you that showed up early before I started the recording, I just popped up a chart that I'm getting ready to get short in a particular currency. I'll showcase that here. Maybe at the bottom of the hour, we'll get a quick peek as to how that market's doing. That's my little tip for those that showed up early for tonight's workshop. But you know, there's a prime time happening right now in the APAC or the Asian session. We're going to be talking about sim versus live trading, when to trade what and when. Then we're going to be talking about probability plays. You guys see me put up the cheat sheet every day when I'm in the trade lab, talking about the probability. There's low, there's medium, there's high probability to trades. That is all directly related to the list of logic, right? So we're looking at the logic at all the time, or at all times, to try to add as much up as we can. It's real simple common logic within the logic. The more things you have, and let me just talk about what I'm discussing right now, the more of these things that you have, sentiment, trend, counter trend, leaders or laggards, the RQ tech, the location, volume, those are the core elements of the logic that add up to probability. So we need to figure out for your trading plan, Are you going to be taking low probability? Are you only going to be taking medium probability and high probability? Are you only taking high probability? Just like I said in the write-up for this workshop tonight, all trading plans are like snowflakes. They really are all different. What you have in your basket, how much money you start with, what your risk tolerance is compared to mine, compared to the other traders in this workshop, compared to all the traders that are in the trade lab tomorrow. You guys are all different, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I can give you guys some common core guidelines. Some of you have actually done a trade coach session with me or a coaching session as of late, where we've built your trade plan, and you had nothing coming into that meeting. You left with some gold, and now it's up to you to stay diligent to it and then stay in touch with me to make sure that you actually are staying true to the course. If you fall off the track, we need to talk. If you're on the track, let's talk about how you can actually do better. Okay, so probability plays, and then suit your style. What I mean by that, I'll get into that in a little bit here in detail, but just top level or high level, we need to find the style of trading that works for you. I absolutely know that Turbo Scalp is not for everybody. If you are faint at heart, if you like slow motion plays, if you like to take, I don't know, 5, 10, 15, 30 minutes to make a decision on what you're going to buy and sell, you can be a day trader. You're going to have a lot less frequent trades. You're going to take a lot more time on your trades, and you have to be that much more of a kind of a sniper, a precision trader to make sure that A, you not only have all the logic adding up for you, but you really have to know your correlations. Correlations, that's going to be another workshop Joe and I were just talking about that we're going to be doing here in the next week or two. So do you know your correlations to be able to be more precise with the trades? And some of you like to put a trade on, set it, forget it. Maybe you're doing a trade before you go to bed. Maybe you're doing a trade before you go to the office, which these days is moving from the kitchen to the living room. Maybe some of you guys just don't want to look at a screen because it gets you stressed out. You just don't want to worry about it. You want to have a protective stop. You want to have a profit target sitting out there. One cancels the order. That can all be done inside of an NinjaTrader. Actually did some of those today in the lab. So this is the agenda. This is what we're going to knock down. We're about 9 minutes in so far, so I want to make sure you guys knew what we're going to be touching on, and I'm going to take each one of these down for you guys tonight, okay? So next page, here we go. Now, I referenced earlier the analogy of sports, so I think it's really important for you guys to understand. I got the same bullets up on the screen, and all I've changed is at the very top of the title, from a trading plan to a football game plan. Now, I'm only going to take a minute to kind of go through these, but really fun how this all correlates, or not correlates, but is very much in parallel with what I'm going to be teaching you guys tonight with your trading plan. Now, you think about the starting line. I'm actually going to change the color. I like red. There we go. So you think about the starting line, right? On a kickoff these days, it seems like a majority of the kickoffs go right through or past the end zone, and they just walk it out, and they end up starting right there on the 30-yard line. That's the start line, okay? The goals. What's the goals in a football game? Well, the goal is to win each game. So if you take it day by day, what's the daily goal? Obviously, they don't trade or they don't play every day, but they play every week, and their goal is to win each week. And what's their goal for the month? Or if you would think of it as a season, that is to win a Super Bowl. What is the basket? The basket of games for a football player is going to be 16 other teams. That's the basket. You got to go up every week against a different team. You actually don't have a choice. That's fixed. The cool thing is you guys can have a fixed basket of markets, and then you got the luxury of choosing what market you're going to trade on any given day. Of course, what are you doing? You're adding up the logic, right? Next thing we're talking about here is we're going to when are the football players open for business? Guys, last time I checked, based on Eastern time, football games are at 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and they all last for 60 minutes of play on the game clock. Guys, we do the same thing. The next slide I'm going to show you is going to be the same bullets for your trading plan. It's going to be a sample trading plan. So think about the prime times when you're open for business. Then we have to talk about sim versus live. Well, sim is kind of like preseason. Now think about that for a second. In football, when there's preseason games, when was the last time you sat down and for the entire 2.5 hours watched the entire preseason football game? I don't care if it's your favorite team or not. Did you really watch it, and did you really care? Two reasons you didn't. One, their starters are not on the field. It's not the real deal. And two, fantasy football is not going on yet, so you don't really care. But man, when it's the real deal, it's the real regular season. This is the difference between trading a simulated account and going for gold, like literally, figuratively, trying to make the money because it really counts. I'm here to tell you guys, treat your sim account in your trading plan like it's a real account. You really have to. You can't have that vibe of, well, it's just sim. I'll trade 5 times more than I usually will. I'll just trade 5 times more and 5 contracts more. No, no, no. Treat it like it's the real deal. Probability plays. We talked about this. Which trades are you taking? Are you taking the low, medium, and high, taking everything across the board, only taking the high ones? Well, in football, probability plays. Are you doing running plays? Are you doing Hail Marys where there's high risk? It's the same thing with trading. You have to make those determinations and write this all up. Everything I'm giving you guys tonight, it's very important that you're writing it up. I have a number of traders that actually take their trading plan, which, by the way, I will be more than happy to help you out with. We have coaching sessions where I'll put it together and I'll send you a PDF and laminate it and like put it on your trade desk, post it up on a wall next to your screen. Whatever you got to do, these little tips will help you stay straight. The next one is suiting your style. I have multiple options. I did a couple of them today. Turbo scalp. I did a swing trade out of the gate. I tried to get along the Dow twice off of a channel breakout. These are different styles. In football, you got the option, you got the run and shoot, you got the pistol. You have options in the sport. You have options in the trading. And then, of course, my favorite one. Yes, I'm a Bears fan. No, I don't live in Chicago. It's a long story. I'll tell you over a couple beers. But you got to have some coaching. You got to have some mentoring. You got to talk to the coach on the sideline, win, lose, or draw. Even on the trades you're doing very well or months that you're doing very well, just kind of check in. It can be a phone call. It can be an email. It can be a 1-hour coaching session. All of this adds up to what I've called out as a football game plan. Now watch this. I'm just going to click the next screen, and I want you guys to see what a sample trading plan looks like. Now this is going to be based off of a $10,000 account. Okay? So starting line, how much money are you actually investing in you? How much are you putting into the account? Everybody, again, is different. A lot of people, based on what's happening outside in the world, have got beat up. Their discretionary income has, come to a screeching halt. You're, searching for a new job. You're searching for a new way to have something that supplements your income. Everybody has a different story. There's people out there that had a lot of money set to the side that they would have qualified as risk capital because they were up 20, 30% in their stock portfolio, and they could easily shave off 10% to do some alternative investing, and now that 30% looks like negative 30%. Get it. Totally get it. That's why I'm going to put out there right now, when you guys come in the lab, I'm always trading like it's a $10,000 account. Regardless of what I have in there, I'm always doing that for the sake of you guys to see how I would trade. A lot of one lots in the mini Dow, a lot of one lots in the mini NASDAQ. If you were with me in January, I was doing 2 and 3 lots in those markets because the risk was a lot smaller. But we've seen, because of the excessive volatility, the risk, especially like in the NASDAQ and the Dow, that's been anywhere between, $400 to $1,000 because of the differential between the Bollinger Bands and the moving average for the turbo scalp trades. I have had to either do a one lot when I can find smaller risk. I've had to make adjustments by using levels instead of the bands for stops, or I got to trade micros. Okay, so micros are really popular right now. Most of the brokerage firms have jacked up the margins because they're freaking out. They're losing money. People have gone sideways, upside down. So you're going to see a lot of people now, or a lot of brokerage firms that are demanding you to put more money in your account, or they're offering you the ability to trade micros. Micros are great because you can find a way to trade multiples. Multiples is a huge part of the element for you to be able to stack your money faster and higher. And the reason for that is because of the fact we can scale out of trades. We can scale into trades, and we don't have to have more money in our account. So we'll go into that a little bit later. Let's talk about the goals. Now, I just put up here I'm always going after a $500 goal. And if we take today, yeah, I got smashed in the mouth today. If we take this week, actually going back to last Monday, I've been in a little bit of a drawdown. And if you go to the beginning of the year, I think up until last week, not I think, I know, I was profitable for every week starting January 1 all the way through last week. What has changed? Like, for one, I kept telling Joe, I was actually kind of like laughing with him, thinking, man, if I don't have a losing week here soon, people are going to think that this is all fixed. So it felt good to have a losing week. Never thought I would say that, and now it's recorded. But the reality is, I'm real just like you guys. Stayed disciplined. I've come off the high. Net equity high was around 17,000 before fees. It's come down somewhere in the ballpark now of about 14. So I've had a pullback. Am I going into tomorrow and thinking any different? Absolutely not. Not at all. Because tomorrow might be the day. And gosh, what I'm going to say to you guys right now is something that I've been just saying over and over and over. Anybody that tries to time a drawdown where they go to the sideline and they wait a couple days or they wait a couple weeks and then they say, okay, there's been a couple wins, I'm going to jump in now. They could be starting a brand new drawdown. And all you're doing is hurting yourself and jumping from one fire to the other. You got to be in it to win it. You just have to have some discipline. And I'm going to give you guys a really cool mathematical breakdown that's going to showcase how I get to this $500 goal and how I get to a $3,000 monthly goal with a $10,000 account. Now think about that. Just round numbers. That's 30% per month. Is that possible? Now I just told you guys I took 10. And I'm sitting right now around 14, and we've had 3.5 months. We're almost 4 months in. So let's just say we're 4 months in at the end of April. At the end of April, if I was making $3,000 a month, 3,000 times 4 is 12,000. And guys, I'm sitting right now about almost 14. So yeah, it is possible. And yes, everything you guys have been watching me do in the room, it all adds up. Okay? The basket, and I'm going to go in detail. I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to actually ask you guys to tell me what your starting capital is. Some of you it's $2,000. Some of you it's $5,000. Some of you it's $20,000 and $50,000. I'll showcase some really key metrics that you guys can take away from tonight's workshop. The basket of markets. This is again a sample. The Dow is YM. The micro is MYM. NASDAQ's micro is MNQ, and the S&P's micro is MES. You can trade gold, GC. You can actually trade MGC, which is the micro gold. I've been actually trading that as of late in the trade room. I'll be trading that again tomorrow. And then, guys, the last one here, I'm going to make sure you guys are paying a special attention here. If you like crude oil, please, please, please trade the QM. The volatility is insane. I watched it in the last hour today. In the last hour today, I watched like a 2,000, well, it was about a $1,200 move on a 1-minute bar. It was right about the last hour at the beginning of the last primetime session today. So a QM is half the size of the big one. And so you can still participate, but you don't have to have as much risk on, right? So highly recommend you guys be trading that at least for the next, I don't know, maybe the next few weeks until we see crude oil settle down, if it is. Now think about crude oil. That's been, I'm gonna leave the screen for a minute. We're gonna talk about crude oil. And by the way, I told you guys I was gonna give you a heads up on the trade that I put on earlier for those that showed up early. This is it. This is Aussie dollar. So it's gonna talk about this real quick. This is a live trade, and then we'll get over to crude oil, and then I'll get back to the presentation. Now look at the color of the candle. This is an example of our RQ channel break. This is an RQ channel break. You can see the dotted purple line. That's an actual channel. There's a few of them. There's a straight purple, and then there's a dotted purple. So there's two different channels. And when they come together, it's a really, really powerful thing when you have the color that is purple for a short and blue for a long. Okay, and you have a prime time. So prime time for the APAC session, or the Asian session as we call it. And look at that, we just got filled. So pretty cool. You guys got to see this happen live. It's a live trade, guys. I'm trying to get the other direction. There we go. So prime time is 8 o'clock right there. Okay, so we are exactly 21 minutes into the prime time. This is a good time to be trading. the color just switched back over to purple. So everything that's happening right here is we are at the beginning of a bear zone. Let's make sure for all those new members that are coming in for the first time, you understand what the zones are. I'm going to squeeze this over, park this over here to the left, and put that over there. There we go. So we have these levels that help us identify bull and bear zones. The bottom level at the that red level at the bottom on the chart on the left, which is just a screenshot, is our critical support. I'm not looking to take this trade down to critical support. I'm looking to take this trade down to the first yellow level, which is the level of first level of support. So you can see S1 over here, S1B, and then S3, which is critical support. So we are in bear zone 1 on this Aussie dollar. And I'm going to pop up some logic here for you guys to put this together. If I put in 6A for the Aussie commodity, okay, Aussie currency, the sentiment right now, I actually don't know what the sentiment is. I have to shrink this down, and if you guys just give me a second. Actually, I do know what the sentiment is. I just have to go to another chart, and I'll do that with any chart here. It doesn't matter. Sentiment right now is green. So we have risk on. Risk on is the sentiment. It'd be ideal if we had a mixed or a conflict sentiment, but we don't. We do have a risk on, and I gotta find my Aussie again and blow that back up. There it is. So right now I do not have sentiment in my corner, so I'm going to give that a 0 credit. This is a trend following trade, since it is a short in the bear territory. Pretty logical, right? Let me help you out with this one. This is one of our biggest laggards right now, and I know that because if I bring the RQ Tech, which is right built into the market analyzer of NinjaTrader, this is the 3rd largest laggard. I'm going to click on the net change twice, once to show me the strong ones, and again to show me the weak ones. Right now, the Aussie is the 3rd largest laggard, behind crude oil, behind the S&P. And then look at the 1, the 3, and the 8-hour time frames. Again, 1, 3, and 8. They're all negative, all red. So I've got the RQ Tech in my favor. Going to give it credit. I got this is a laggard. That's in my favor. The location. This is great location. It's the beginning of the bear zone. And then as far as volume, well, we're about 24 minutes in. I'd say any volume would have been the thrust right at or right before the prime time. You can actually see the market kind of dropping through 10, 15 minutes before this market kind of just chilled out in the bear zone. So I'm not going to give that any credit. So the reality is I have a 4. This would be a medium probability trade. Now, if part of your trading plan is to only take high probability trades, no problem. Just know you're not going to have that many. Your trade frequency is going to be high if you take everything. It's going to be medium if you take the medium and high probability trades, and you're going to have a low frequency if you take high probability trades. Maybe if you have a small account, if you're a new trader, you're just coming off the blocks, like maybe your first month, you try only taking high probability trades. Think about it. You're going to have just about everything in your favor, at least 5 of the 6 things that I have listed here to take those type of trades. All right, so we'll come back to this. I just want to give you guys a snapshot as to what was working in the background. Glad to see that actually get filled live here in the workshop, and I promise I'll show that trade before we end the show tonight. Now, the other market that's been in the headlines is crude oil. Now, this is a great example. This was the day before yesterday. You guys know what the big talk of the town, not the town, the whole country, the whole global continent, or global climate with crude oil. Massive sell-off, not only going to zero, but going below zero, while the May contract went into expiration on Monday. The May contract expired Monday, and everybody that was holding on to their longs needed to get out, because if they didn't, they were going to have to take delivery. They're going to have to pay for storage for delivery, and it's not something you want to do. It's very costly, very expensive, and a pain in the butt, to be honest with you. And the broker's going to do everything to make sure that he's calling you or she's calling you, emailing you, whatever they're doing. But sometimes people are just checked out. Sometimes people just go on a margin call and they're upside down. A lot of people got crushed. A lot of houses got crushed. A lot of investors got crushed with what crude oil did. A lot of traders just didn't sell. They were holding on and it cost them. Well, I was in the June contract. This is the June contract. This was, what day was this? Was day before yesterday, Monday. This is at 1:45. This was 15 minutes. No, this is 15 minutes into the prime time. 15 minutes into the prime time. Prime time ends the last hour, which I'm going to put up here with the vertical, which is 4:30, which is right there. Okay. And I caught a turbo scalp trade below the moving average. The qualifying bar was actually a few bars back. I could have waited for the market to fall below the lower band, which actually happened right over here. That was another qualifier. So I got in early. If I missed it, happened again at 2:05. And guys, from 2:05 down to 17 after the hour. So this is about a 30-minute trade, selling off at 21.97, picking up at 21.04. That was a $930 trade on one lot in the crude oil. So there's a great example of what you want. You want to just try to find one of those and be one and done. If your goal is to make 500, here's a great example how not only would I have made $500 if that was the only trade I had that day, but I could have actually doubled my money or doubled my profit target, came close to doubling what my daily profit target was for the day. Okay, just wanted to showcase that. I thought it was important to show that since crude oil is so much in the news right now. All right, let's get back to the sample trading plan, and then we're going to break down some math for you guys. So I have showed you guys a game plan compared to a sample trading plan, and the last two things suit your style. I just gave you an example of a channel breakout strategy with that Aussie dollar that I'm now short, and I showed you the turbo scalp, which is a strategy that I use about 95% of the time in the trade lab, and that's what I took for that short crude oil. That was the turbo scalp method. Reality is we're all different. You're going to have different styles. We want to find the style that works for you. Then the last thing is coaching. It's very important. You know, think of all the best athletes that are out there. They don't just do it on their own. They have somebody to help them. Somebody's coaching them. Someone's mentoring them. And my suggestion to you guys is to have like a coaching session at least once a month. Win, lose, or draw. If you're killing it, you're doing great. Great. You probably don't need one if you're killing it. If you're not killing it, if you're losing, you're behind the curve, you're just getting chewed up and you can't figure it out, let me help you, okay? We're here to help you guys out. And then obviously if you're just not going anywhere, you're stuck at zero, you know, you started in January with 10,000, here you are going into March and you're still at 10,000. Well, let's figure out what you're doing wrong. Maybe you're not taking enough trades. Maybe you're over trading. Maybe you're not letting your trades run. Maybe you're not putting your trailing stop at the right spot. These are things that we can help you do. It's really important that you do have these core elements, though, built into your plan. Now, let's talk about a basket. I'm actually going to break here for just a second and check out any questions that anybody has. So if you do have any questions, again, house rules here, send them through at any time. I'll do my best to take some breaths, take a swig, drinking some good old water tonight, and answer those things up for you. Again, the advantage of coming into a workshop live is, well, you get an opportunity to ask me some questions, right? It's a little hectic sometimes in the trade lab workshop. I love you know, the banter back and forth. So anything on your mind, it doesn't have to be about trading plans. It could be about something else, and maybe when I'm done, I can answer up some of those questions too. All right. Looks like you guys are a pretty quiet crowd. Big crowd. Quiet for a very big crowd. All right. So guys, I just put up here a basket for you to look at. Again, we're going to focus on commodities tonight. Now, remember what I said earlier. Snowflakes, we're all different. I personally love the Dow because it's easy to follow and manage. The minimum tick and the point value is one and the same. $5 a tick, $5 a point. Really, really easy for the mini Dow. I like the NASDAQ. I used to love the Russell. I just kind of shied away from it. I used to originally, like way back in the day when the E-mini S&P was born, I used to trade the S&P, but really most of my stuff now is the Dow and the NASDAQ. So my basket is those two. And then depending on the sentiment, really I'll take any trade in this basket depending on the sentiment. I really, really like the currencies for the Eurex session. Okay, so for the US day session, yeah, I very rarely will trade them. Only if we have the right sentiment and I can see that there might be some nice follow through from what the Eurex session didn't finish. Okay, so whatever the London session did not finish might be follow through in the US, and that's about the only time you'll find me in the trade lab putting a trade on. I very rarely do. Now you guys just watched me do the Aussie dollar. Because it's kind of aligned with, think about it, the APAC session. You got Asia, Australia trading right now. Oftentimes there's reports at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I also like to, I love trading gold and I love trading crude oil. There it is. Okay, so those are my favorites. Those are the ones I trade predominantly in the trade lab with you guys live. And all those markets are actually the trade by trade. All the performance is listed on the website for the day trades. And when I say day trades, all the trades that I do with you guys, oftentimes like that crude oil trade I just shared with you, I do also put trades on in the afternoon. Once in a while, I'll put a trade on. Like I'm definitely going to be scanning tonight. I love scanning Wednesday nights for a Thursday market session, the Eurex session. So I'm going to see if I can catch a set it and forget it trade tonight. And if I do, it's usually in the London session. I like to trade gold. I like to trade copper. I like to trade crude, and once in a while, maybe a Dow for the Eurex session. I don't trade grains anymore. You know, guys, the daily limits and that market, it just used to be a great complement. I like to take grain trades for long term. Okay, so for like I'll just put LT for long term. Long term trading systems that are out there, great. For day trading, no, I no longer do. I rarely put dollar index on anymore, but again, the same rules here would apply like I just talked to you guys out about these over here. Now, the one thing that I do want to point out is the two markets that I use for correlations. I actually use these markets as an indicator would be the S&P and the T-notes. So those are not in my basket that I trade, but those are markets that I definitely have to have a couple of charts up at all times to see activity, because correlations are really, really key. What the notes are doing can trigger activity in that gold, can trigger activity in the dollar. What the S&P is doing can obviously trigger the Dow, can obviously trigger the cousins, the NASDAQ and the Russell. You can also often see triggers with the euro based on what the dollar is doing. And what the S&P does, sometimes you'll see activity with the euro, and because it's like a domino effect. And because the euro is moving up, well then guess what? So could the pound. And if the pound is moving up and the euro is moving up, you might see the dollar have an opposite effect. So there's like lines that are drawn between all of these markets. I could put like a bunch of lines up on the screen and can probably get you guys confused. But the reality is, this is why we need to have a workshop just on correlations. And Joe does a really good job with it. I think I'm going to be his sidekick, or just let him do that workshop all on his own. So stay tuned for that. We'll have that coming up in the near term. So pick your basket is what I'm trying to get across with this screen. Now I'm going to show you one more slide, and then we're going to go into some money management. I mentioned earlier you need some coaching. Everybody has had one of these days. Hey, coincidentally, I had one of these days today. That's right. It's recorded. I said it live right here. You guys were in the trade lab today. The first thing I thought of when the lab was over, I'm thinking, man, think about all those people that just started their trial. They watched my videos, they heard the basics, and they're thinking, man, I can't wait to get in there and watch this guy trade. Holy cow, look at all these trades. Listen to all these different videos. And they come in and they're going, man, this guy is getting smashed. Yeah, that's right. Mario Andretti sometimes put the car into the wall. So did Jeff Fisher back in the day, and there's a lot of other great guys. Newman, you guys name it. We could Senna, some great ones have left us. But the reality is, I do it too, guys. The reality is, though, I knew when to stop. And if you guys listened carefully in the room today, I started taking smaller risk trades, and I started trading micros. And I also started trading the mini crude. So I was doing things to start filtering down what I needed to do to still stay in the race, to give myself a chance. And yes, I caught some trades this afternoon. If I have some time, I'll show some of those trades with you guys in a bit. Now, the reality is, though, if you have one of these days, we all do, you have to start thinking, okay, how many losses have I had now in a row? I'm talking about days. Have I lost back-to-back days? Have I lost 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days in a row? If so, how much have the losses amounted to? I'm going to give you guys a grid. I'm going to give you guys a worksheet here in just a minute. It's going to show you when you need to get back into this baby. This is a simulator. Yes, even though you've got a live traded or live funded account, I'm telling you guys right now, the best of the best will sometimes after they have a string of losses and they hit their max number of losses for days or by the amount of money, whatever that parameter is, they have to say, okay, I got to get back into the simulator and I got to figure this out. Pilots do this. All sorts of military does this. Athletes do this in terms of going back and watching the game tape and trying to learn without trying to learn on the fly. That's not the best analogy, but this is an easy analogy. A racer gets back into a simulator and a trader gets back into a sim mode. You guys all have it. It's free if you have NinjaTrader. It's actually not free if you're leasing, but it's part of your package. And if you bought NinjaTrader, simulated data comes along with your monthly fees. So take advantage of it. You don't have to sim trade the entire day. Maybe just sim trade for one primetime session. That's something we can talk about and something I often kind of prescribe to traders when I have one-on-ones with you guys. But I thought it was really important to bring this up and to let you know that that's a tool that you have at your disposal. And then, of course, me as your coach, you guys know I'm a huge Bears fan, and that is the best man on the planet back in the day, coaching one cocky son of a bee, and that would be Jimmy McMahon with Mike Ditka. But yeah, you guys, when you're a trader, sometimes you think you're bigger than life. Sometimes you just get a little bit bigger, too big for your britches. Sometimes you have one of those, oh my God, I just took $1,000 down in this market and I did it in 10 minutes. Oh, I can do this over and over. No, you can't. No, you can't. You kind of need to go to the sidelines if you find yourself putting yourself into the wall and you can't figure it out. I love telling you guys out loud in the trade lab when I have a loss. I love when I can explain why I lost. If I can't explain it, and today was actually a good day where I couldn't really figure it out, but when I went back and stopped and I said, guys, look what's happening here. The Dow, which I had 3 losses in a row, the Dow was just consolidating in the neutral trade zone. The S&P was not breaking out. The NASDAQ wasn't breaking out of its funk. Everything was stopping. The crude oil was going sideways. Gold was going sideways. It was a real lousy, lazy, small ebb and flow, choppy, sloppy hour and a half today. And if you watch the market around 11:15, it broke out a little bit, not much, and it really didn't start humming until around 12 o'clock. And even then, it wasn't all that easy to pick off some trades today. It was kind of a crummy session today altogether for the stocks. It's not going to be that way every day, thank God. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you guys over to a worksheet that I have. Bear with me here as I go find it. And here we go. All right, so let's bring this down. Let's go check out our Aussie trade hit. Check in and see how we're doing here. It's against us by 10 ticks, and yeah, speaking of discipline, it'd be nice to get a stop in. I didn't have an OCO on this one. Now, do you guys see the color of the candle? See the color of the candle? In fact, it was a nice wick that you guys got to see live. It was going down. Now this thing has gone from weakness to neutral. Now all the market has done is it's come up, back up to the bear level, and it's testing it. It's testing that bear. I got 2 options for protection. I can place a protective stop above the first level, which is the bear. Now that it's a neutral color, I need to anticipate that we're going to possibly go and climb into that neutral and bounce around a little bit. So I'm comfortable with the risk, keeping it right up here above the opposite RQ level, which is the bull level. And I can measure the risk. And I can tell you guys right now from 62.90 to 63.10, that's roughly 20 points, which is $200 of risk. And the distance from 62.90 down to the bottom is, I need to move my toolbar, 62.60 is 30. So this is about a 1.5 to 1 risk reward ratio. I'm going to make roughly 30 and I have to risk 20 to do that. If I wanted to place my stop down, if I wasn't comfortable with 20 points, I would tuck it in here 5 points above, 2, 3, 4, 5 points above that level, and that would reduce the risk to about 15 points. Now it's a 2 to 1 risk reward ratio. I'm risking 15 to make 30. And then if I wanted to make more money, I certainly could. This might be a trade that I just hold on to throughout the entire night. Maybe it doesn't get out until tomorrow when I'm back with you guys live in the trade room. Look at this. I could stick the limit order down there. We're doing a little bit of money management here. I could stick the limit order down there, and I could wait for the market to close below both yellows. And when if it gets down here, at that point, I could bring this stop and bring it and tuck it right here above both yellows. So instead of being above both greens, I would put it above both yellows. That would give me, as the market's down here trading, that would give me now 2 levels of protection. But that's a big if and that's a big when. And if I don't want to sit there and look at it, then you'd have to place an OCO. So after the trigger gets hit to get in, you automatically have a limit order that you can adjust and a stop order you can adjust. Then you can walk away, because when one of those is hit, the other one will automatically cancel out. Are there any questions on that before I take you guys over to the money management calculation for your trade plan? Looks like you guys are good, and we still got more people piling in. All right, super. So we're going to keep that one going. I'm going to keep the stop right where it's at. And I'm going to now pop open this screen right here. Actually, let me put something in the background so I'm not distracted. There we go. All right. All right. Now, this is a money management calculator. Okay. This is going to show you based on your initial investment in you. I'm going to change this around. I'm going to just randomly ask you guys to throw some numbers out based on what size capital you have. I'm not going to say your name out loud. I'll just say, okay, trader, one of our traders is saying this amount, or maybe I'll just, randomly pull some amounts out. But for a $10,000 account, and I'm going to use myself as an example, 5% is a very good common marker that you should be using for your daily target. So 5% on a $10,000 account is going to be $500. That's also going to be the marker that you're going to use for a red line for your daily loss. So you need to make a note and say, okay, look, I really need to keep my losses to $500 maximum. So you got to be careful. If you take one trade on that has $500 of risk and you get stopped out, well, what have you done? You're done. Like, are you really going to let that be the end of your day? Why not trade some micros? Why not trade some micros, for example, where you could trade 10 micros equivalent to the size of one mini contract? Okay, that will give you leverage. That'll give you the ability to hit multiple profit targets. Yes, you're not going to make as much money as you would on a full contract, but you can stay in the game without having one trade that's bad and goes against you. Think of the NASDAQ. Mini NASDAQ right now has been offering risk between $400 to $800. So if you had a $10,000 account, you could easily have a 10% blowout in one day. And that is really, really bad. So try to use these guidelines, $500 up, $5 down, as a best and worst case scenario. By the way that you have a better day than $500 is sometimes you guys have seen me in the lab where I'm literally in 12. Gosh, I've done this in as early as 3 or 4 minutes, oftentimes 10 to 12 minutes into the session. I've got my open trade equity. I show my open trade equity in NinjaTrader, and as soon as it shows me $500 or a little bit over $500, you guys see me right click and hit close everything and take the profit. I like doing that for honestly, guys, for kicks and giggles. It feels great to be able to step in, start trading for 10 minutes and hitting your profit target and being done. I'd be lying to you guys if I told you that I am really done for the rest of the day. Since I'm a professional, I've been doing this for so long, I'll take another trade later in the day, might be later in the session. But the cool thing is I don't have to. I've reached my goal. But what if I've had a couple of days of losing? I'm trying to get back up and wait till I show you guys what I have listed in a couple more lines here. There's an average of 22 days in a month. Okay. I think this month we actually have exactly 5, 10, 15, 19, 21. Yeah, there's exactly 22 in this month. Some months are a little bit smaller because of holidays, and some months are maybe a shade higher, but mostly an average of 22 days. So what does that mean? If you made $500 every single day, every single trading day, that would add up to $11,000. Now, if I told you that I've done that, I want you guys to jump out of the room. Of course, I haven't done that. I've had some really nice strings, but I have not gone 22 days in a row. But I just want you guys to watch this logic. If you had 22 days that you lost $500, you would lose $11,000. And what's wrong with this problem? This problem is, well, you'd be $1,000 debit to what you started with. So, moral of the story, it's next to impossible to have 22 days in a row winning of that much, and it's an absolute horror story that you cannot allow yourself to have 22 days of loss. I want you guys to make a note here. If you actually drop 15%, you have a 15% drawdown, or you have 3 days in a row of losses, okay, whichever one comes first. And when I say losses, it's significant, not 3 days in a row of losing $100 in this example. It's a significant amount to you. And you're scratching your head and you're frustrated, you need to reach out to me. You need to reach out to Joe. You need to reach out to Rios Coin. You got to let us know what's going on so we can help you, because there ain't nobody else in your little trading world that's going to help you. You can talk to your friends, you can gab, you can complain, you can whine. Nobody's going to try to help you. You've already invested in yourself. You've invested in our room. You've invested in our tech. The least we can do is help you. We're here to pay it forward, right? So let us help you. Watch this next line. If you had 11 wins out of 22, what if you only made money 11 days out of the month and you hit your target of $500? Doesn't that sound a hell of a lot more reasonable? Now remember, the game plan, or the trading plan I showcased earlier was to start with a $10,000. The sample was a $10,000 account, and to try to take $3,000 out a month, and to have a $500 daily goal. Like, that's when I'm walking to the computer every day. Here's my account. Here's what I'm trying to do. I'm going to let some of my trades run, like I showed you on that crude. Some days I'm going to hit the wall, like I showed you today live in the Trade Lab. But what if I only need to be a winner half of the amount of time that I trade? Well, what if? What if I actually said, okay, 11 times I win, 6 times I break even, because there's another 11 on average. What if you have 6 days out of the month where you're like, oh, man, I sat there for an hour, I came back in the afternoon, net, I broke even. Is that a bad thing? The reality, guys, is that's a realistic thing. Many days you'll be break even. And I know a lot of traders out there that will tell me that a break even day is a good day. And I'm one of those traders that will tell you that. Question is, how many of those are you having? Try to keep it around 6. These are guidelines. Try to go for half of your trading days to be winning days. Yes, try to let some of those winning trades run, because you're going to need the padding. But the reality is, if you can control the remainder of your trades to be losses that do not amount to be more than 5%, that is now a $2,500 loss all added up. Now, you guys don't have to be mathematicians to see where I'm going here. If I got 11 days where I'm winning, 6 days I'm breaking even, and 5 days where I'm losing, which is, we all know, we're not going to be able to make money every day. But here's some reasonable numbers. That is the monthly result. That is exactly a $3,000. I'm not taking into consideration your fees. Again, we're all snowflakes. We all pay a different commission. Some of you guys have taken advantage of buying NinjaTrader versus leasing to get the lowest commission rate. Everyone might be at a different brokerage house, so I'll leave commissions out of the numbers I'm sharing with you. but this is the method to the madness, how we get to 3,000 bucks. Now, watch what happens for those of you out there with smaller accounts, okay? If you have a $5,000 account, just type in 500 or 5,000 here. Smaller accounts, look how it adds up. If you're taking $1,500 away, now here's where I get like a little upset when I have coaching sessions and I ask people out of the gate, hey, what's your daily goal? Like what's your monthly goal? And I get guys that tell me, well, man, I got this bill, I want to be able to buy a boat, I got this bike I got to pay for, I got this second mortgage I got now. Just tell me what the monthly goal is. And they'll say, well, I need to clear like $4,000 or $5,000. And what do you think the next question is I'm asking these traders? What do you think I'm asking them? How much are you starting with? And what do you think they're telling me? They're telling me that, well, I'm going to start with 5,000. So you want to try to make 90% a month. What do you guys think I do next? There's nobody else on the planet that's going to tell them. Just tell them like it is. You're crazy. You are 100% crazy if you think you're going to make 90% a month. You think you're going to make $4,000 on your $5,000 account. You might do that one of the 12 months a year. I guarantee 9 of the other balance, you're sending money into your account to continue to fund it. That's the guy, that's the trader in Las Vegas that keeps going back to the ATM. Yeah, the walk of shame. The walk of shame. Hey guys, I'm gonna go use the restroom. We've all been there. You go walking over to the ATM around the corner. I don't want anybody to see me taking more money out of my account. I'm gonna go back to the table. I'm gonna throw $400 on the table. Money plays. That's that trader. Don't be that trader. You guys know what I'm talking about. I've been there. You've been there. You know somebody that's been there. And that's not where you're going to be now. This is different. This is not gambling. We're speculating. Yes, I understand that. But if you guys are here tonight because you've seen me live in the room, you've watched a video, something about this is different. I think I can do this. This makes sense. This is not some flying by the night yahoo that some college dropout. Hey, I didn't need school, man. Dude, check it out, brah. Yeah, man, I'm making $1,000 a month. I'm printing money in FOREX. And then I take it over to Bitcoin and while I'm smoking my cannabis, and man, I'm killing it. And I started with a $500 account. Come on, man. Come on. That's not what we're doing here. By the way, I love watching those guys. I get sucked into them. It's kind of like watching National Geographic at 2 o'clock in the morning when you got nothing else to do and you've had too many Doritos. Very entertaining. I laugh my butt off until I just go, okay, you're just stupid. Okay, sorry, got derailed there. All right, so let's put $2,000 in. Okay, those of you guys out there with $2,000 trading micros, there you go. Do you think you can try to make $100 a day? Do you think you can keep yourself from not losing $100? Trading 1 to 2, sometimes 3 micros. Here's what's great: the grab and go strategy. I'm going to use the Aussie in the background here. That's a great example. What if you had 2, and by the way, there's micro currencies. Yes, there is. Yes, there are. What if I had traded 2 micros here, taking 1 off here and taking 1 off here? What if I traded 3 micros here and I took 1 halfway into the zone, or a quick little $50, that felt good. I'm making some money. And I'm going to cancel my 3-lot stop to make it a 2-lot. And I'm going to take another one off here, and I'm going to take another one off at the bottom. What if? Yeah, you'd be very quickly turning your profits, not $100, but it'd be closer to like $200. This is how you can grow your money without having to do 5 or 6 trades of 1 lots in trades that have too much risk. You can scale in and scale out with Turbo Scalp. You can scale in and scale out with the channel breakout. Same thing. Okay, you got a $25,000 account. I'm going to go the other direction. Think about it. If you got 25 G's, you cannot let yourself drop more than $6,200 in a given month. That's your drawdown, 62.5. And you're trying to just simply, kind of take 1250 out of the market. Now you're trading 2, maybe 3 Dows, trading 1 full contract of crude, 2 or 3 gold contracts. Okay, so it doesn't really matter. However, I slide this around. Here's a $7,500 account. A lot of people are in that category. There you go. Take a screenshot. This is free, guys. Free information. My guideline. By the way, I am not a money manager. Been there, done that. I am not here preaching to you guys, hey, I'm a money manager and follow me and you'll be rich. No. These are guidelines. Something I've done, watched, participated for a number of years, and it's just logical sense. Okay, you're not going to have 22 wins in a month, 22 days of winning every day in a month. You're not going to lose every day in the month because you won't be around. You won't be trading. This is why so many people blow out. They don't have a trading plan. They're out of control. You've got to have some discipline. Okay, so it's really important that you have some of these guidelines. Now, there's more details inside of my coaching sessions. Really, truth be told, guys, I spend most time in coaching sessions looking at your trades and asking you why you did what you did, even on your profitable trades. I want to ask you why you're doing what you're doing. That's what I spend most of my time doing. Hey, I'm floating over to gold. I'm going to leave this open. I'm just going to look at some charts here, see if there's anything else that looks interesting to take a look at in this prime time session. Gold's pretty flat today. I was looking at a channel breakout, but you can see in this prime time, it's been pretty quiet so far. Gold, let's take a look at copper. This is the May contract, which will be actually switching, I believe, to July pretty soon, so keep an eye out on that. Here's the copper contract. Come on. Yeah, it's pretty flat as well. Another one I like to trade during the APAC session. You can see it's kind of floating through the neutral trade zone right now, but we're not going to use these channel breakouts to sell unless we're in the bear zone, and we're not even close. And let's go look at crude oil. We're looking at the front month, which is June. And this is on a 5-minute time frame, looking for a channel breakout, probably in the bull zone is my guess. Oh, it's just slipping down in a little bit. You got a 2-channel combination right here for a potential buy. Maybe in the Eurex session you have an opportunity to look for a long trade, but it's just slipping into the neutral trade zone a little bit. Just wanted to scan some markets there for you. So guys, let's recap and take some questions. I'll stop the recording here in just a minute and give you guys a chance to ask me some questions. But to recap, let's go back over to my slideshow and talk about the agenda items that I kicked off with. So now you guys know, as far as start line, your starting line, how much you're starting with. You got to set some goals daily and monthly. You got to choose a basket of markets and stay with it. Choose markets you are familiar with. Open for business. Guys, trade according to your lifestyle that works for you. If you don't like staying up late at night, you shouldn't be trading the Eurex session. If you're over in London, it's a no-brainer. You're trading the Eurex session if you're in that region of the world. You're trading currencies in that session, no-brainer. It's probably difficult for you to trade the APAC session. So it depends on where you are on the planet, and it depends if you're a night owl or an early bird. So determine when you're going to be open for business. Sim versus live. I already gave you guys some tips there. Highly recommend that you guys go sim before you go live. New traders, gosh, stay in a sim for a month, 2 months. Get a track record. Show me the track record. Prove it to me. Prove it to yourself. Probability plays. I spoke enough on that tonight. I can go more into that if you have questions. Talked about suiting your style. Trade with the strategies that work for you. I've got strategies like the Aussie dollar that are slow unless the market's moving fast, that don't require you to watch every minute of every bar. That would be Turbo Scalp. And then we talked about coaching. Last thing I'm going to talk about, and that's the plug, and the cost, because everybody says, okay, how much does it cost? All right, Trade Lab open every day from 9 to 10:30. Joe kicks the door open at 9. I slip in around 9:30 and trade for you, with you guys. Actually, you take it to about 11 o'clock. So come in tomorrow and we'll do some trading together. This is the Coach's Creed. It's time for you guys that have been in trial to step up, step in, and get going beyond just the Trade Lab. The Trade Lab is just a place for you to come in and listen, but you need the indicators, guys. You got to get the levels. Without the levels, you're trading naked, and I don't want to see you trading naked. Let's put some clothes on, right? So for the levels, the Architect, the dynamic market sentiment, that DMS that you guys show, that I show you at the bottom of the charts, where I can show you if we're risk on or risk off, or conflict, or mixed. Oh my God, how could you trade without the Architect? How can you trade without the channels if you're looking for some nice swing trades? One of the newcomers, the OBOS, the overbought, oversold. Man, there was a beautiful OBOS signal. I want to say it was around 112. It was either 12 or 12:30 today for crude oil. Go take a look at it. For those of you guys that have the OBOS, heck of a nice retracement there. And then, of course, Turbo Scalp with the e-guide. So actually give you a strategy, give you a guide, give you the inputs for those indicators. That's our RQ 2020. That is a phenomenal, tremendous, phenomenal value. That is our RQ 2020. That's where you're going to find the best value. And then on top of those indicators, you need to get the monthly license going. That's a monthly recurring cost. And this one is a one-time fee. For those members that don't have Turbo, don't have the RQ OBOS, we've got some a la carte options for you to just get those two. I'm going to, the last couple workshops, I've been giving out some percentages out loud. I'm not going to do that this time. I've got something else I worked out with Tim. Here's what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to reach out to Tim that want to step up and step on. And there's his email. It's right there in the middle, tim@riosquant.com. You can reach out to support@riosquant.com with any support questions. But for pricing, membership options, all that kind of good stuff, I want you guys to refer to Tim and refer the code EP Gold, EP Gold, GOLD, and tell Tim I sent you to get a nice little offer. Let's leave it at that. Outside of that, guys, I'm going to kill the recording here. I'm going to take questions for you guys that have them, and appreciate those that did show up and put the time in tonight. We're right at 9:04. Kept you guys right at an hour. Just did a little bit of extra stuff in there. And I bid you guys a good rest of your night, and I hope to see all of you guys tomorrow inside of the Trade Lab.